I want to tell the story of 2020 coming in. It's December 23rd, week away from the new year. And I have a feeling things are going to be kind of hectic just with possibly going out of town and Christmas coming up and projects. And I have some time right now. I felt like creating something, documenting something, filming something. And I don't mean to glamorize anything. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to over dramatize anything. I'm not trying to make myself look good or ask for pity. I'm simply documenting the story. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, so I'm not saying that I had this crazy story, but kind of. Anyways, enough of the preamble. I'll start at the new year. 2019 going into 2020. I got a girlfriend. Things seemed to be good. I had this new job that I had started in September. It had transitioned into a different role. And I wasn't necessarily thrilled about the role, but at least I felt stable. I wasn't looking to move anytime soon, but I was definitely starting to wonder what my future looked like with the company. By all external measure and standard, I was doing fine. Making about 50 grand a year. Honestly, working like 30 hours a week. Working out for most of it. A lot of my work took place in gyms. So I felt like it was fair compensation for what I was doing. Now, during that time, I'm serving in church. And I meet on a random Sunday morning. I meet a guy. He waves. I'm on the parking team. Every other week, I'm out there holding a sign welcoming people that are driving into the parking ramp. Not a great job, to be honest. I mean, it's fine, but to get yourself up and be ready for a 9 o'clock service, to be at the church for pre-gathering and everything by like 8:30, it sometimes when you're especially you had a Saturday night with the girlfriend out and about, that's an early morning, and it's not always something that you want to do. In fact, rarely is. But anyways, it's good discipline. And so I was serving and I felt good whenever I got there. I then the Holy Spirit took over and I felt good, and I really think I was able to welcome people. I did a good job. Anyways, this guy drives by me, a little bit older looking, but than me, not an old guy, but just older than me. But it's just a genuine smile, genuine wave. Big smile. Big genuine. It's like, man, I got to meet that guy. And so, I'm in church service after I got done with parking, and the sermon is in fact about meeting new friends and having divine fellowship. I spot the guy across the pews, a couple rows over, and I just make my way over there. I say, hey, I just gotta let you know, really appreciate that smile this morning. I'm out there. You're by far the only one that gave me that sort of energy, and I just wanted to introduce myself. And from there, he was like, his name was John. He's like, awesome. Let's grab coffee this week and just, I want to hear your story. And so simple introduction. It's like, all right. This guy now wants to grab coffee. It's, you know, and with the job, it was fine. Like we grabbed coffee at 10 o'clock in the morning, because I was making my own schedule. And at coffee, we really connected. We both were very open, honest, vulnerable about our history. And we didn't try to pretend like we were anybody we weren't. And I hadn't met a lot of Christians like that. A lot of Christians don't talk about the wild behavior. And in some regard, I understand. It's like you're new. Once you've been born again, you don't need to dwell in the past. But I also think it's very refreshing to actually speak honestly and open about your journey. And so that's what we did. And during that meeting, I laid out to him that, it's like, I don't know where I really stand with this company. I have other passions. I have this drone that I like using. I like podcasts. I want to tell story. I think I said that. I think I said something like to that effect. And he just said, this company, this food company, it might not work. It's a very difficult business. And that's okay. And he's like, and you might get fired. And that's okay. And the way he said it was just so kind, gracious, loving, truthful, but piercing. And so, but also put me at peace. And so, and then he said, the Holy Spirit has impressed on me that you are going to build a media company, and you will, I forget exactly the terminology or the wording that he said, but he said in that meeting, this was February time frame, before COVID or anything, he said, the Holy Spirit has impressed that you are going to build a media company. At the time, I thought, great. I'm happy this guy believes in me. Honestly, I mean, I just met the guy. It was the first meeting, and I didn't know if he was a little over spiritual or what the deal was, if he was one of those guys that, anyways. So I thought, great. I liked the guy. He was cool. We had a good conversation. We went our separate ways. Maybe a week later. So, okay, that must have been March. That must have been early March. A week later, we get stay-at-home orders. COVID has come, and nobody knows what to do. It was Sunday, March 17th, I believe. It was one of those days. Maybe it was a Thursday. It was a Thursday that the NBA got shut down, I believe. Like, they shut the games down as scheduled. I think even one of the games stopped halfway through. They turned everything off. And that was the first domino that created the whole countrywide shutdown. And so that was about Thursday. Hadn't heard anything from work. Sunday, my boss tells me, hey, let's work from home this upcoming week. I was fine with that. I just shaved my head. I looked like a complete doofus. So I wasn't too keen on having anyone at work see my bald head. Side tangent, I was going to I had some internal conflict, and I think I took that out as a form of like trying to gain some sort of control. I shaved my head, but more on that later. So then it turns out, then John hits me back up, and he's like, "Hey, let's have a powwow. Let's just get together. Come check out my new office." And I was like, "All right, that's awesome. That's Friday." I get a call while in his office. It's Tyler. Tyler says, "Hey, buddy, gotta let you go." Tyler's my boss. "Hey, buddy, gotta let you go. Nothing personal, but I think this COVID thing is for real. And gyms, I believe, are going to be shut down for a long time. This isn't just a couple weeks thing. It's months." I saw it coming, but I wasn't devastated. It was weirdly refreshing. I was weirdly at peace. It just felt like, okay. And I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else other than at John's office. So I went out into the hallway to take the call. I walked back in. I didn't even tell him who was calling. I walked back in. I said, "Yep, just got fired." And I mean, we can call it laid off. We can call it. I wasn't furloughed. It was, but like it's. Laid off is just a kinder way to say you got fired. You got canned. You got shit canned, homie. And so it was like, what do I do? I have no idea what I'm going to do. At that point, we started a hope and humor show. We're like, there's gonna be people be just like suicidal. This was so unprecedented. Nobody knew what was going on. The markets were absolutely plummeting. The world was going into utter dismay, and we're like, we gotta preach Jesus. We gotta share our hope. We gotta share some brevity. And so we started this hope and humor Facebook live show. I brought in the mics. He got some video software for like screen recording setup, different things. And it was awkward. Like the show, it was just kind of awkward and a little embarrassing. But so we did it for about 2 weeks. We had different segments. I would pray us in. He would pray us out. We'd do Dan's Daily Wisdom. We'd do some meditation. We'd do some meditation, guided biblical verse of the day. It was bad, but it was good. Because it gave me such purpose, and it gave him purpose too. I think because he had a whole bunch of trips canceled. And so we're doing this hope and humor show, Facebook Live and every day. And like, there was probably some people touched that we'll never know. But even through the awkwardness and, people turned it on, and it was a good little thing, but little do we know how that small beginning would lead us to the next thing. And it was just about staying faithful. So while we're doing that, I tell John about 2 weeks in, I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do for work. And so I showed up, and I still was kind of working out of his office. We were just getting together, and I decided I'm gonna get going on my cleaning company. I had already filed an LLC the previous couple months ago, thinking I was gonna get shit canned earlier before my position got changed. So I was hired for one position, that folded. I got transferred into a different position, and so I had this LLC on the back burner. I was like, well, I already got the company. I might as well just try to make something of it. It was a cleaning company. I had experience. And it's like, I might as well just go with that. I'm not looking for another job, tell you that. And so I started trying to build this cleaning company, and getting the website together and trying to write copy and figure out pricing and calling people and all this crap. And I thought one thing, I was like, cleaning companies, they're so behind the times, to be honest. They're not efficient. There's not a lot of branding there. And I thought, if I just was able to package my service with a little bit more flair, maybe I'd be able to blow some of this competition, or at least separate myself from all the other kind of vanilla websites that you see. And so I started coming up with content ideas. I was like, what if so I shot this video at John's office. It was like it was a montage of me following my hand and all the different things I touch. And then, through the office, those door handles, all this, bathroom vending machine, all these things I touch. And then at the end of it was like a 30-second spot. And at the end of it, I was like, I don't know, something about one-time disinfecting. Are you one-time disinfecting? I forget what the tagline was, but it was something about, one-time disinfectant service. Actually, it wasn't terrible either. But I was like, oh, that was fun creating that. I really enjoyed that. And the thing is, I had zero desire to actually go out and get business, but I really enjoyed creating that content. And then I lost basically all my steam. I went hard for 2 weeks, and then I hit a wall. I was like, this is not happening. I basically took a week off and just watched TV for a week. It was like, this is not what I want to be doing with my life. I don't really want to build a cleaning company. And so then I was kind of lost again. I was like, shit. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I would tell people about this cleaning company kind of as just a way to save face and as a way to almost lie to myself that I had something going on, when in reality, I didn't have shit going on. I was shooting baskets 3 times a day, watching TV, and talking with my girlfriend, which things weren't going well. Things weren't going well at all with that. So it was all this escapism and unknowns and pushing down a lot of fear, both from a financial career perspective as well as a personal relationship perspective. And it was dark. It wasn't ever super dark, but it was dark. Luckily, it was a time where I started really just focusing on faith, and I just stayed active, and I kind of just rode out the storm. I actually no, that's not really what happened. I was staying active, but the storm hadn't even hit yet. I saw a desert that I was approaching, and I didn't want to go into that desert. But I knew I had to if I wanted to move forward in life. And so about May time frame, so 2 months, let's see, March, April, May, about 2 months after the Hope and Humor and the cleaning and all that stuff, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. No, okay. So cleaning comes to a halt. Cleaning comes to a complete halt. About 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks of dead time. After the dead time, my dad, he got his drone, and he decided to get a drone pilot's license right away. And he just took the test and went for it. And me, I had shown John sometime in that time frame this picture I'd taken of just a drone picture of a baseball field and the city in the background. And that sparked something in his mind. He said, "Oh, I should connect you with this guy who I know that does real estate photos and real estate photography." I was like, "Oh, real estate photography. Okay, that's interesting." And so to be a real estate photographer and a commercial drone pilot, you had to pass the test. And my dad, he went out and passed the test like right away. I was like, shit, if he just did it, I got to do it. And so it was actually like super motivating that he did it. And that I was kind of procrastinating it, to be honest. And so then I just dove into studying for this test. I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a drone pilot. I'm going to somehow make money with this drone. And so I took the test, and then it was still in the back of my mind, the cleaning company. But I forget what the exact day was, but there was a moment in time where I said, you know what? It might have been May 8th, to be honest. I was walking to the lake, and I thought to myself, I like all this content. I don't like the cleaning. Why not just focus on the content? I was like, I'm going to do that. It was a snap. It was, with that decision, cleaning was done. And it's funny how things like that happen in life, where with one, there's just a straw that breaks the camel's back. And so what I did, I announced it to Facebook. I went over to my buddy's house. I took a real estate drone video of his house and a couple photos of the neighborhood. Looking back, it was pretty funny what I did. It just wasn't that good, but it got a real round of applause on the LinkedIn and Facebook. It got a lot of support, and that support was huge. That initial reaction by my network really inspired me to chase after this media thing. And at the time, I'm thinking real estate photography, drones, video walkthroughs, pictures. This is it. I reach out to this guy I follow on Instagram, a couple people that I follow on Instagram that are real estate photographers / videographers. And I just say, hey, I got this podcast. I would love to interview you. Basically, all of them didn't respond, except for one guy. But it took him a couple days. But he came back. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. And named Tim Kruger out of California, shooting just like luxury real estate. He's the photographer for this guy that I had followed on podcasts, Kevin Sturdivant, Kevion, on like the Short Story Long podcast, and he had his own as well. And just like this super motivational but tactical realtor, all about mindset and just living a good life, and not like in a cheesy way, just like living with purpose. And it just really connected. He's kind of had like a skate vibe to him, and a little hip hop vibe, and he was just my guy. And I've reached out to him a couple times. He never said anything back, but but his photographer did. So I was like, all right. So I interview the photographer, and about concurrently during this time, my girlfriend and I had just it just wasn't gonna work. We had issues just mostly on my end. Like it was just me. It was me realizing that she wasn't gonna be my life partner. We'd been together for about 2.5 years, and it was just starting to eat away at me. How if I didn't do something, like I was just kind of wasting this time. I was wasting my time, but also wasting her time because I wasn't serious about taking a step forward. It was plateaued. The relationship had plateaued, and I think at some points in relationships, when that happens, it's like you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep going with this? Just because it's been good for a while and you grow, the more you get to know somebody, though, it's you dig deeper and you get to know each other, and it's not that there's things wrong with any other person. It's that it's not the right fit for it's just not the right fit for them or for you. And so it was a very difficult month. It's a very difficult month after the breakup. A lot of crying. I just like loneliness. I never quite, I didn't regret the decision. I knew it was the right decision. It just hurt so much. And it still does. It still does. I'm like 8-9 months out of it now, and it still stings if I think too much about her or look at pictures or yeah, all that stuff. Because there's so many great memories. But when you break it down to when you put it in perspective that, okay, even though you've dated for 2.5 years, you're gonna live for, say, another 70. So if you're already not quite feeling it 2.5 in, what makes you think like there's this sunk cost fallacy, like I'm 2.5 in, I should just ride with it? But you got 70 more to go. And so that's what I've tried to keep in perspective, especially when I feel sad. But anyways, so I'm coming fresh off a breakup. So now I got no job. I got no girlfriend who had been like just this nice support, someone I could cry on, basically. Got no girlfriend. Everyone's in lockdown mode, and to be honest, my friends kind of all were doing their own thing, and I was doing my thing. We weren't necessarily super in touch. So I was now in the desert that I had seen approaching, and it was a desert. But so to get back to the podcast, this Tim Kruger guy, he just lights me up, man. He just lit me up. Not in like some motivational way, like a canned speech, but just the questions that I asked him and his candor in response. I was like, man, I want to be like this guy. I want a job like this. Like he didn't give a fuck. He said it how it was, and there was no sugarcoating anything. He talked about hard work. He talked about that not liking a boss. He talked about all this stuff. He also talked about how he doesn't even like art really. Like he's not a creative. He takes photos because he got good at it and it pays the bills. He wasn't some like hipster dude. He was super honest. And that resonated. And so that was another demarcation. It's like, well, I'm just gonna go fucking do this. If Tim did it, then I'm gonna do it. And that's I started doing that. I printed off these. I was like, I just gotta shoot. So I just started calling people. I started calling people on for sale by owner websites. All the realtors I know, I started cold calling them. I went and hit flyers, and I flyered the whole neighborhood around Lake of the Isles, dropping fucking flyers, asking if I could take pictures of their home, just because I needed portfolio shots. I needed to practice. And I live in this little apartment that it's not good for practice. You can't get those. It's just different. So I was trying to practice on $1 million homes. And I caught a couple breaks here and there. Posted on LinkedIn. A couple friends from college, friends from high school. They gave me work, and I charged them like $100 to start with. I did this one guy. I did like 3 or 4 shoots. Oh man, I did like 3 or 4 shoots for this guy at the same crib, and I started the first time, and I took the drone to the house, and I took some exteriors, and then I flew the drone in the house because I didn't know how to do video for houses. I was like, well, it must be a drone because it looks so damn good. Like those. I didn't know anything about a slider or a gimbal at the time. So, I fly this drone in the house, and it didn't quite turn out how I wanted it to be. And the other guy knew that too. I was like, well, let me come back. So I bought this thing that I could hook on to the drone and walk around and try to take video that way. And I tried it, and it still didn't do the job. It was just a little, it was too tight. And at that point, I'm like, all right, well, I think I need to get a camera here. And so then I got a camera. Somehow, fuck, I'm kind of getting into the weeds here. I can't, it's too much of a story. There's too many damn things that happened here. It was just a march forward, a continuous march forward. And I started shooting, using my drone to shoot videos for painters. And oh my goodness, I can't even believe that this is what I was doing just a couple months ago. I was cold calling painters asking if I could shoot drone before and after videos, and they were saying, yeah. I literally, like, this is another divine thing. Like, I called up about 10 cold called 10 people in a row, and about 5 of them said, yeah, sounds like a good idea. And a couple of them, O'Keefe was like, yeah, can you come right now? It's like, yeah. I went out and shot right away. I charged him $165 for two trips, and yeah. So I was like, well, I gotta keep it going. I did a recruitment video for a different painting company. Painting companies were my jam there for a sec. And I need to say, during this time, I was on unemployment, so I had some cash coming in. Through July, I had the extra 600. So I was literally making $1,000 a week on unemployment, and I'm not necessarily like proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It just is what it is. And it was completely necessary for me to have the time and space to actually figure this shit out. I needed a stopgap. I needed a bridge, and that's what unemployment has provided me. And so yeah, this is my last week on it. It went way down, went down to 477 after that 600. But I won't lie. I've gotten a lot of money from the government this year, and I owe a lot in taxes. But I wouldn't be where I am right now without that investment. So my mindset was, let me take this money from Uncle Sam, treat it like he is my investor, and really treat this like it's a startup. And so startups, they're not worried. If you're worried about where your food, like food and shelter, if you don't have food and shelter covered, life is super stressful. Like you're in survival mode all the time. And so what the unemployment provided me was the bare necessities. And I had some savings on top of that. So it wasn't like I was going to be out on the street. But it was, I just don't want to sit here and say I did it all by myself, because that's just completely not true from a financial aspect. Like, I had Uncle Sam invest in me, but I took it from day one. I took that money as I viewed it as an investment for my business to launch. And it served me, and it served me well. Some people, I think, went out and bought, who knows what people bought with their unemployment dollars. But I bought a lot of gear. I won't lie about that, but video gear is expensive. And if I didn't have that unemployment cash, I wouldn't have been able to go out and buy, I bought a lot of I bought super smartly. The other day, I added up what all my gear's worth. And if I had bought all of it new, I'm sitting around 24,000. I bought a lot of it used, mostly used, and now so I'm sitting around 12,000 that I shelled out for gear over the last 6-7 months, which is not cheap at all. $12,000, but the way I looked at it was like, well, I can use this $12,000 of gear, and my upside is basically unlimited. So let's take that risk. Let's use this money to make a lot more. I mean, that's investing 101, but I think some people, they would hoard that money. They would say, I need all the money I can get right now, and they just start living super cheap. It's honestly like the Bible parable: one talent, 3 talents, 5 talents. You get 1 talent, you go and bury it to save it. That's evil, man. Go and multiply it. So that's the perspective I took on it, and so I'll fast forward here because I know we're like 45 in. So I realized I wanted to go full time with video, and the real estate photography, it wasn't doing it for me. It was, to be honest, it just wasn't enough money. I realized video has way more money. Video is way more powerful. You can move people, a lot more emotion with video than with photos. And I decided I'm going all in on video. That's my thing. That's going to be my jam. Now, I didn't turn away any realtors that asked me to shoot their house, and I still wouldn't. Decided I needed to kind of prune that. And so once August is done, I realized I don't really have much. I don't have much in the pipeline. I had all these like little painting projects. I was bidding super low. I had high volume with probably like 4 or 5 different clients, and that gave me a nice confidence. But it wasn't gonna be paying the bills. So I realized I need to get on my sales game like ASAP hardcore. And so September comes around, it's the September sales challenge, and I cold called every day. I recorded myself doing it too. I recorded myself cold calling every day. I missed 2 working days. Um, but I probably made 120 cold calls. And I know that's not a lot. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that much. For some people, 120 cold calls, like that's a day. But I didn't want to make my life miserable, and I think there's also a point of diminishing returns with cold calls. Like I don't perform after a certain amount. Like after 8 to 10 cold calls, I'm not performing anymore. But let me back up and just say one thing. I did. I bought it. I invested in a really nice camera. So I sold the first real estate photography camera. I invested in this 1DX that I'm shooting on right now, from China on eBay, and no, Japan, and that was a big investment. That was like, all right, I'm going in on this. Around that same time, I decided I was gonna stop drinking. And so July 15th was my last day of drinking. I had been playing softball. I ran into a fence catching a fly ball. Caught the thing, but I banged up my knee incredibly bad. And honestly, it's just now starting to like be 100%. It's taken months, but I banged up my knee. I went over to my friend's house. We had like 4 or 5 beers each. I woke up the next day just in a terrible place. I was physically injured. I had no girlfriend anymore. I had no job. I was super uncertain about the future. I wasn't super connected with anybody. Church was closed. I was in it. That was the kind of the pit of despair. That was the darkest place. And like I said, it was middle of summer, so it wasn't. I was out being active and shit, but not with the injured knee though, not with the injured knee, and so that injury, um, kind of was my wake up call, and God used that as my wake up call. I'm convinced, because then I didn't go on this trip that a couple of friends and I had been kicking around. I wasn't super jacked about it, but I was kind of getting roped into it. And so that injury gave me a valid excuse to cancel. And I just decided, you know what? I'm done. I'm done drinking. I listened to a book, Alan Carr, How to Control Your Alcohol, or How to Control Your Drinking. I said, fuck it, I'm done. And so I haven't drank since. I have not drank since Sam's house. July 15th. And so anyways, my point in saying all that is that was kind of like the point I recommitted, where I need to make green media work. I need to make my company work. So September sales challenge happens. I call up this guy that I had talked with. He owns a moving company. I talked with him. It must have been that previous January. Yeah, it was January. So it wasn't. Yeah, it was like 8 months previous. And we were LinkedIn connections, and I just said, "Hey, I'm doing video. I was just wondering if you'd be interested in anything." And we decided to get lunch. And long story short, I kind of was like, I was kind of fumbling it a little bit, but we got lunch. Had a great connection. It was, it was the 3 hour lunch. From there, we talk. Um, we talk shop. We talk projects. We meet. Then we hop on a Zoom call, and with the president, marketing director, him, and we agree on shooting a recruitment video, and another video too. And that was the biggest. That was the big break that I needed. That was that big break that it was the confidence booster that and like reassured me that I could do it. And so after that happened, I joined this BNI group, networking, because I realized, holy crap, like all my business success has come from face-to-face relationships. Yeah, it's not glamorous. It's not quick. It's not tech startup-y where you just throw out a couple Facebook ads and you blow up. No, this takes real work, but there's real dollars that are available out there. This is how you tap into them. And so I'll just wrap it up here as far as I produced the video. It went amazing. I crushed the video. I joined this BNI group. I've booked probably $5,000 of work through the BNI group in about 2 months. And then the CBMC group, the second big break now has been I'm going to produce a podcast for a guy. That's going to be a monthly thing. And that's going to be $3,500 a month. That pricing that out, it wasn't easy, and I was nervous, but yeah, he went with it. $3,500. So and now in January, I'm slotted to do about 10 grand worth of work. And so I picked up a second camera, picked up a little bit more gear along the way. But the biggest thing has been just consistency of showing up every day, having conversations, having good conversations every day, relying on God every day, reading the Bible every morning. I'm not so arrogant or oblivious to think this could all be gone tomorrow. It really could. But I'm riding the wave and I'm putting in the work, and I'm not just riding the wave. I've ridden a wave, I've paddled back out, I've caught another wave, I've paddled back out, I've caught another wave. And so I'm surfing. I'm doing it, and I'm starting to catch bigger waves. And I'm super stoked about that. And now, where I thought I was going full in on video, which I am, but I'm seeing there's even a bigger opportunity to pair video with distribution and start managing people's distribution. And so now creating content, and even a step before the content creation is the strategy and understanding the marketing principles and understanding psychology and story. And so strategy paired with content creation, paired with distribution, turns into conversion. And that is the package that I'm going to market with, that I'm trying to build my website around. It's the full package that will deliver somebody what they're trying to accomplish with a video. When somebody makes a video, they're trying to solve a problem. Well, that's what I do. Come to me with your problem. I will figure out a creative way to address it, solve it, and through distribution and conversion. Because that's the key. You can make a pretty video and have all the technical aspects of it, perfect, but if you just put it out to YouTube and nobody sees it or it doesn't have any impact, what's the point? So there's the story. A little drawn out at times, a little brief at times. I'm pretty much focused, I guess, only on the career, a little bit on my personal with my girl. I've read voraciously. I've worked out every day. I've tried to eat fairly clean. Haven't hung out with a bunch of people, but the people I have been good people. I've made some new friends. Started volunteering as a youth leader at church every Wednesday, sixth graders. Volunteering on Sundays. Like I've put these pieces together. If you go through the 7 equities of life, which is mind, body, spirit, that's kind of you, the mind, body, and the spirit. I'm checking those boxes, and then career, finance, social, family. It's like I'm starting to check those boxes too. Putting a lot of work on career. Finances are slowly coming. Family, immediate is there. I no wife and kids, but trying to do what I can, seeing grandma and grandpa. And then social's important, but might not have to look the way that it traditionally does for some other people, which is Friday, Saturday at the bars, or like when Monday night football is. Social could be Sunday at church, Wednesday night youth group, even some work aspects or social. So anyways, why do I share all this? I just want to document it because maybe this will float out there one day. And somebody is going through what I went through back in March and April, May, where you lose a job, you go through a breakup, you're not seeing friends, you're by yourself, and you don't know what to do. You got to keep marching forward. You got to keep praying, and one thing leads to the next. So if you go all in with your heart on whatever it is that's in front of you, the task at hand, if you go all in, if that's not what is meant to be your thing, you will find your thing through that. But you got to keep moving forward. Not in a cheesy way, but just applying yourself, and you get out of life what you put into it. And so if you're sitting on a couch watching TV like I wasn't moving physically and metaphorically. I started moving physically, running, getting my mind right, playing hoops. All of a sudden that kind of starts to translate metaphorically to action. It's all tied together, it really is. This life, and now let me just say, like, I love my days. I absolutely love my days. I don't want to go to sleep. I dislike having to go to sleep. I still dislike waking up, but not to not to the same extent. Sometimes I'm excited to wake up. I'm excited to wake up when I don't have to wake up to an alarm, but when I go to sleep late and I wake up early for a meeting or something, I don't like that. But there was times in my life where it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning and I'd be like, oh, I only have an hour or two more to sleep. Now it's like, ooh, I only have an hour or two more to sleep. Let's go. About to be daybreak. And I'm not even kidding about that mentality. That's literally how I think. And it's not me forcing that thought. It's naturally when I have to get up and take a piss, that's the thought that goes through my mind, which is crazy. Stop drinking. Stop drinking poison. How are you going to you can tell yourself all the rationales, and at the end of the day it's all just lies. It really is. Everything that you're rationalizing about drinking is a lie. You don't need it. You don't need poison. Why would you need poison in your body? My life has absolutely taken off. Not immediately, but slowly, like a snowball. Read. Read voraciously. Read the greats. Expand your mind about what's possible. Cut out the bullshit distractions. Sports. It's one of the great things that happened during COVID. All sports shut down. You don't need sports. Yeah, they're fun. It's cool. It's a waste of time. Go build something. Go play sports yourself. Get out. Move. I think that's it. That's my story. Peace.